The manhwa starts with a man explaining how the world he lived in was destroyed. It's a story we've heard a lot, where a gate opened up and tons of monsters began to flood out of it. They were constantly having to fight the monsters to survive. The man had lived that way for his entire life. Just day by day, perpetually fighting, and a never-ending struggle. And for him, time flied by. It started out with one day going towards a month, and then a year, eventually 10 years passed by in the blink of an eye. With a single sword, he could cut down any monster, and he wasn't afraid. But that wasn't the case for what he's standing before now, as we see a giant looming over him. The giant tells him to give up, as the world he knew has already perished. The man says that this person is the one who caused all of this. The giant says that it's such a waste of talent, and he can become his sword. The man tells him not to make him laugh and screams while charging forward. He raises his sword overhead, and the giant swings his fist towards him. But the man evades by going to the side of it and cutting his knuckles. The giant looks up towards him as the man gets ready to go for a counterattack. But before he can, there's something already right in his face, as the giant has swatted him out of the air with an attack. The man narrowly blocks it off, as the giant tells him to struggle as much as he wants, because to him he's just a mere insect. The man can't block all the attacks forever, as he starts to get chipped away. He has to create some distance to regain himself before charging straight back in. Leaping towards the giant's chest, the giant raises his hand into the air, and then swats him down, showing that he truly is insignificant to him. The man slowly gets back up, as the giant feels overwhelming towards him. He spots a pendant on the giant's chest and realizes that that might be something he can aim for. As the giant raises his sword, the man readies his as well, as if he was about to launch a javelin. He squeezes everything he has into his arms and throws it forward. And it's so fast that it sounds as if it broke the sound barrier, putting a hole straight through the giant's chest, flying up into space itself. The giant's attack stops just shy of the man's head. As the pendant has now been broken, the giant says that he can't believe this, but it's his fault for underestimating him. The pendant's fragments begin shooting out everywhere, as the giant screams no. Before he falls backward, also beginning to disintegrate just like the pendant. The man falls to the ground, soaked in blood from his wounds, beginning to succumb to them. As his eyes begin to get heavy, he looks up one last time at the sky, catching a glimpse of a shooting star, saying it sure is a beautiful view. Then his consciousness then faded out. It is now time for our story to actually begin, as we see a man rocking sandals walking through town. But we're not too sure where he's headed until we hear an alarm beeping, and we see that he is at the rank C Namsan gate, which has a minimum of 3 people. And they tell him to please scan his hero registration number and unique ID, as civilians need to refrain from entering. As he's looking up at a building, he raises his foot and stomps off the ground, soaring through the air. And they detect and they see this, saying that there's an unregistered hero forcibly entering the gate. But it's too bad for them, as the man's already inside of it. He begins walking around, as someone calls out to him. He turns, and a group of people ask if he's lost. They say they don't know what happened to him, but they're heading out, and he can come along with them. He just kind of stares at them. The woman comments on his clothes. One of her party members says that he definitely doesn't seem like a hero. And that porters can wear whatever they want, but his outfit is way too relaxed. He's also just got a backpack, wondering what his deal is. They say that maybe the hero he came with ditched him for being clueless. And the man says that he gets what they're saying, but he just got here. At this point, they're just hearing what they want to hear, as one of the people says that he just got left behind for sure. Who I assume is the leader of the group says that he's seen plenty like him, and he knows why he came into the gate. He wants to try hunting based on what he saw on YouTube, but it'll just be suicide. He should first get a hero license, and then pass the test. Then reminds him that this is a C rank gate. So if he's starting out, he should go to a lower rank one. The man says that he gets that they're trying to be helpful, but he's not really asking for advice. They can't believe that he's acting like this, calling him crazy. He begins walking away, and they decide just to let it go, because even if he ignores the advice given out of concern, it's ultimately up to him whether he'll listen or not. Because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, and he's going to learn that the gates are nothing like what he saw online. As a shadow begins to loom over him, he looks up, seeing some kind of giant monster looking down at him. It begins to growl, followed up by a scream. As the man takes off his backpack, he sighs, watching as the monster attacks straight towards his head. He says it's been 10 years. As the attack hits where he was standing, the monster is surprised because there's nothing there, only for the man to rear back his fist, one punch manning its entire head clean off. The monster drops to its knees before falling onto the ground, pouring blood everywhere. And he says not a single thing is different from how it used to be. As he's looking down at its corpse, he reaches towards it, grabbing onto its blade. He looks at his reflection, and then walks toward it as he begins digging into it, straight through the top of its torso, until he pulls out some kind of stone. We learn it's a low-grade magic stone. In the past, he wouldn't have even glanced at such a low-grade item. He puts it into his bag, and starts to zip it up. As he finishes up, he notices something to his right. More monsters begin to approach him while screaming. They are now right behind him. One swings, which he ducks underneath. Holding onto the low-grade magic stone, he tightens his grip, and then yeets it, blowing off one of their heads. As it starts to fall backward, the other two begin screaming, running directly toward him. He drops his bag to the ground, looking dead ahead. Meanwhile, the team who was in earlier is wandering, and the girl says that she's curious as to what will happen if he actually dies or something. One of her teammates asks if she's worried about him, saying that if that guy is really an intruder, by now agents from the control center would be on their way, as this is the Namsan Gate. So elite agents ranked B or higher will be dispatched due to the gate's ranking. As long as he doesn't lose his mind and attack a monster first, he won't die, so they shouldn't worry. They say that he's right, and the girl says that disrespectful jerk is probably trembling, waiting for the agents to come save him. But actually, it's the monsters trembling in fear, as he punches one of them in the head. I guess he held back because it didn't explode. One of them starts to attack from behind, but he dodges out of the way, causing it to slam into the floor instead. The monster realizes he's screwed, as the man's now already behind him with his leg raised into the air. He deletes a chunk out of this guy's skull, causing him to fall into the ground too. He grabs onto the blade, saying that this is 3 more magic stones. After digging through their corpses to find them, he puts them into his bag, saying that the harvest is not so great. He has 12 low-grade and 16 lower mid-grade ones, until one of the control center agents finds him. They start running closer until they are now squatted up in front of him, saying that they are from the gate control center. He needs to show his hero registration card. If he's an unregistered hero, he'll need to come with them to the control center. He asks what a gate control center is, and the man tells him to just comply with their instructions, as he looks pissed. But the man doesn't have time to deal with such tedious things, and calls them annoying. The control agents tell the other one to get the cuffs out and cooperate, and that if he refuses to comply, they may use physical force. They grab onto his hand, saying that if he resists, any physical harm caused will be entirely his responsibility, and it would be best to come to the control center peacefully and resolve this. The man immediately pulls the agent's hand off, which surprises the control center agent, and the man tells the agent to stop bothering him and just go back. They all start to draw their weapons, as we see them having some kind of batons. The man recognizes it as a grade 4 mana seal, saying that it might work on an orc, but to him it means literally nothing, as he twists the guy's hand, causing him to fall to the ground. This is their final warning, and if they don't want to get hurt, or worse, they should leave now. As they start to fly towards the man, he easily deflects both of their batons and even the follow-up punch. He then starts to tense up his leg, returning with the knee to the guy's side. As he's reeling from the pain, he keeps his leg up and immediately transitions into a kick into the other man's chest, sending him flying. Realizing that they might have made a mistake, one of the guards starts to look hella nervous. The man glares at him and then disappears straight in his sight. The guy has an uneasy feeling, which is to be expected, as he gets hit straight in the gut. As he's reeling from the punch, coughing, the man asks if they're done, asking there are no problems with registered heroes. He says there isn't, as long as there's no illegal acts inside the gate, no one will be dispatched. He asks about the Rift Zone, which surprises the guy. We learns it is a dimensional passage where bizarre monsters have appeared all over the world, and here, the byproducts obtained from hunting monsters were used as a new energy resource. For that reason, the state strictly controls the passage and confines the monsters that place, are the gates. The unknown spaces that have not yet turned into gates are called rift zones. He says no matter which gate he goes through, they'll still come looking for him, claiming it's trespassing or whatever. Guard number 1 says that's right, because if an unregistered hero enters a gate without authorization, it's immediately automatically reported to the control center, and agents stationed nearby are dispatched. But the rift zone can't be entered as easily as a gate, and the Hero Association won't let it go. The man wonders what he should do then, and he grabs him by the face. The guard realizes he should have notified headquarters from the beginning. He gets pulled backwards and then yeeted forward into the trees. Bro low-key seems bored, saying that they're nothing special. The guard starts to get back up, yelling at him, saying that he's going to kill him, as he watches him walk away. Back to whenever he killed the giant after the pendant broke, he says that he heard that bastard scream, and while he lost consciousness, he felt like he was being sucked into something. To him, he just thought it was death, but as he slowly opened his eyes, he was floating downwards, and we spot the body he's in currently. We finally learn that the body's owner is named Seo Dojin. He introduces himself saying that he is dying, and if he grants his request he will quietly disappear just like this. The hero says no, and Dojin looks anxious. He says he has no more regrets about life, since it's all bullshit. He fought desperately for 10 years, only to be betrayed by somebody he trusted, and the country he lived in is destroyed. His friends are all dead, so is his family. Even if he lives diligently, life gives him nothing in the end, saying surely he feels that too. Dojin says even if his life turns out like that, he hopes his grandmother and Yoon Young, who are still alive, don't have to live like that. The hero sighs, asking him what he wants. Dojin gets excited and goes to tell him exactly what he wishes for. But then we are taken to the Gasan digital complex inside of Seoul. It is now called the Hero Complex, because there are far more gate byproduct trading companies than anything else. As we see him walking around, he decides to go into the store. He is welcomed by the cashier, and Dojin says he wants to sell him some magic stones. The cashier says he has come to the right place, and they buy at the highest prices in the entirety of South Korea. Dojin starts pouring them all over the table, and the dude looks disgusted, saying at least he should wipe the blood off before bringing them in. He tells him he has a lot of magic stones, and that he will go sort them out, asking if he would like some coffee. Dojin tells him to do as he pleases. As the man begins cleaning them, Dojin drinks his coffee. The cashier counts them all up, saying that he should know the fee is 40% of the purchase price, and if they do the math, this is how much it would be. But Dojin tells him to stop. He did all the hunting, and all they did was buy it, yet the fee is 40%. The guy asks if he really doesn't know how this works. They usually take 45, but they're giving him a better deal. If he doesn't want to sell, he can just take it back. As no matter where he goes, he won't find a better price. Dojin starts taking them back, saying okay. The cashier grabs his hand, saying that he has to pay the sorting fee. The coffee isn't free either, and he starts telling him how much he's going to charge him for it all. Since he can no longer reuse the expensive towel because of the blood, he can also pay for that. Dojin says that he doesn't have any money, and he can try to take it if he wants. The dude begins grinning, saying that he should pay, as they have a few C-rank heroes watching their backs, calling him a son of a bitch. On cue, they enter the door, as a man with a scar asks if he was called for, and if someone's causing trouble. Dojin glances up at him, as Scarface looks back down at him as well. They're so weak that they get off screen, as we see the cashier looking terrified. Scarface hits the desk, making the cashier scream, as they all just got bodied in a flash. The cashier is just horrified. Dojin then approaches the desk, saying that the fee is only 1%, and he wants to make it a fair deal from now on. The cashier then tells him to come back again next time. As he heads back, slams the money on the table, we see his grandmother and Yoon Young looking surprised, and they ask him what's the deal with all the money? He says that he once lent money to a friend who was starting a business, and that business became a huge success. They're surprised. His grandmother looks suspicious that he has a friend like that, and he says that she knows the place where he grew up, and he's a friend that he used to hang out with back then. She says that makes sense. She looks down at it as Yoon Young wonders if they're rich. He says yes, and they should go shopping, since they are. While patting her head, she starts running around super happily, saying that they're rich over and over. As he watches her, he recalls the original body's owner wishing that both his grandmother and Yoon Young could live in a home safer than anywhere else. He couldn't say anything else to the original body's owner. He vanished, and he woke up in his place, and he has been living here ever since. He says the safest house in Korea currently costs 110 billion won. There's no obligation to keep a one-sided promise, but if he just gets his strength back, that amount of money will be nothing to him. The rift, the gates, the monsters, pretty much everything in this place will be destroyed. At some point, there's nothing he can do about it because he is currently weak. For him being the sword god, this place is child's play, but he hasn't even gotten back 10% of his strength yet. Someone starts banging on the door, asking him if he's inside. He wonders who the hell it is, and says he will go see, so they can stay here. And as he opens the door, we see two men standing in front of him. They say it's about time he pays the money that he borrowed, and that it's 48 million won. He says that they're the loan sharks that the real one borrowed money from before he died, and that it was for his grandmother's hospital fees. They say surely he made some money after going to the gate, and then he should hand it all over, and they tell him not to feel wronged. Sanji from Taemu feels Dojin's fist grots by his face, hitting his friend in the head, causing Bro to fly backwards into the wall. Sanji turns, surprised, and Dojin says that he's already paid back over 9 million so far, and that he should be the one getting paid instead. Panicked, Sanji asks if he's really Dojin. Dojin tells him that he should go tell his boss that he'll be paying him a visit soon, as he hits him as well. And then it takes us to a mall. As we see a lot of cute teddy bears, Yoonyoung's asking if she can really have one. Dojin says yes, and they bought new clothes already, so she can go ahead and buy everything else that she wants. Since he shares Dojin's memories, even his dried up emotions began to change. It's still just sympathy for now, but he was kind to Yoonyoung even though she's his half-sister with a different father, and at the very least, he'll protect that feeling. She grabs a little rabbit, asking if she can choose this one, and looks really sad. He then grabs a giant bear off of the wall, as we see her eyes light up, and he says that he told her to buy whatever she wants, and she starts laughing. They then go to the food court and get some food. And we hear yet another person calling out to Dojin. Damn, he is popular. He turns, as we see a woman with two bodyguards behind her. She asks what's going on, and why he's wearing such nice clothes when he's nothing special, and who that is next to him, if he messed up like his mother or something. He starts to get pissed. As he glares at them, the guards begin staring back. Yoonyoung just wonders who this old lady is. The girl then approaches Yoonyoung, asking what her name is. She tells her, and she says that she should have expected it of somebody from the Lee family, because looking at the way she's dressed, she's so shabby, just like her mother. Then she asks Dojin if she's right while laughing. Dojin starts to get pissed as she then mocks him, asking if he's mute since he's not answering. Annoyed that he's not saying a single word, she then decides to poke at Yoonyoung instead, asking if she knows what the word slut means. Dojin decides that he doesn't want to sit there anymore, saying that a woman as ugly as an orc shouldn't be talking. The girl turns, surprised, and he's just furious. We learn more about Dojin, or at least the original owner. He was born out of wedlock and lived in poverty. At the age of 7, after his mother died, he got to live in his biological father's house. He lived there for over 10 years with discrimination and contempt, and after his father's second wife gave birth to a son, he was completely neglected and then driven out once more. He lived at his maternal grandmother's house with his half-sibling that he's never seen before. The sword god wonders just how strong-willed Dojin was to be able to endure all of this, but says that he will make sure that he handles it. He says they lived together for 12 years, and she still disgusts him, and both the way she looks and her personality are awful. Also that she's also dumb as hell. She has an awful inferiority complex towards anybody that's prettier than her, which is almost everybody on the planet. Compared to Yoonyoung, she's even jealous of a child, which is absolutely crazy. In regards to his sister, she's not better in a single aspect. He looks down at her, waiting for her to reply, and she starts to get pissed, asking what he just said. Then we hear a woman telling Dojin it's been a while, and she starts to approach them. I assume that it's the girl's daughter. Holy shit, what a plot twist. The orc is the daughter, that's crazy. She starts crying, asking if she heard what that bastard just said to her. The mother tells her that's enough, and she needs to stay quiet, asking why she's so uncultured. She asks Dojin if he's been doing well, saying even if he's busy, he should come home once in a while. Dojin says that she's a fake piece of shit who tormented him for almost 12 years, and she says that his father worries about him so much. He says that this makes him sick, and they're not people who exchange greetings at all, and he tells her to fuck off already. She immediately drops her fake persona and turns, walking away. She wonders if this is really the Dojin she knows, as he would lower his head even if someone slapped him for no reason. Piggy starts to chase after her mother as Dojin watches them leave. He tells Yoon it's time to go. She says okay, and the sword god says that the Dojin they all knew, who took everything without speaking his mind, no longer exists, and they better realize that for their own good. As they are driving away, the orc asks her mother why they just left like that, as she should have crushed him. She goes to tell her mother what he called her, but the mother ignores her, calling out to one of the bodyguards, asking why Dojin is still alive. He says that he was clearly told in the report that somebody named Kang Cholwoo left him at the gate. The woman screams, saying exactly, so why is someone who should be dead still alive? The guard says that he'll double check and try to figure out why, and Piggy wonders what the hell she's talking about by him being dead. The mother just sits there annoyed, as she continues pestering her, wondering what she's doing, and if she really tried to kill Dojin. Her mother then asks if she still likes him, and she immediately starts to blush, getting panicked, saying that it's not like that, but if grandpa or dad figure out about it, it would be over. Her mother instantly covers her mouth, saying that she'll handle it herself, so she should stay out of her business. Poor girl's probably been abused her entire life, and that's why her personality is so bad. But her mother's just pissed that she got talked back to in the first place, saying that she'll get rid of him no matter what. We get more backstory about how 10 years ago, there was a rift zone that appeared. Monsters poured out and killed people, and that was when the world was thrown into chaos. But with the rise of heroes, the chaos quickly settled, and the mana stones extracted from monsters began to gradually replace traditional energy sources. Countries devoted everything to turning rifts into gates, and now the entire industrial structure revolves around gates and heroes. In other words, if you want to make money, you need to become a hero. He heads to a building to go register as he walks forward. He enters it. We see a man smoking, asking him if he's here to pay his debts. We recognize behind him are the two loan sharks who were at his house. He says that he can't believe he's here after shamelessly wrecking his boys. The more he thinks about it, the more he feels like he got screwed. Dojin says that's how he feels, as the more he thinks about it, the more he feels like he got screwed. The guy asks what he's talking about. Dojin says it's time he got compensated for the mental, physical, and material damage they have caused. Bossman says that he used to be a soft kid, now he's got a whole new attitude, and judging by how he wrecked his boys, he must have awakened inside of a gate. He says that he must have gotten something quite nice, asking if he wants him to tell him what happened to the other cocky punks who thought they were hot shit after awakening. More men begin to enter the room and begin surrounding Dojin. The boss man continues, saying all those guys who acted tough after awakening still ended up as D-rank trash, but surely he knows that he's got plenty of D-ranks under him who would not let him run his mouth. Dojin sits there for a second, then tells boss man to sit down, as he is yet to finish talking. One of the men immediately charges at him, saying that he can't believe he's looking down on his boss. Dojin grabs his glasses by the bridge and throws them off before hitting the dude in the face, sending him flying across the room. He then hits another one in the cheek and says that they're nothing but shitty loan sharks, but also he knows that they forge IDs. And if he wants to make money, now he needs a hero ID. He dodges one of their punches, returning his own instantly, hitting the guy straight in the face, sending him flying as well. Now all of the men are dealt with. Dojin says that they need to make his ID perfect so they can't trace it back, and it needs to be finished by tomorrow. Bossman is surprised, and so are the other two original loan sharks, because they knew he was strong, but not to this extent. They ask what the hell is his power, saying that he might even be a B rank, since this is well above what a C or D rank could be. Dojin asks why he's not answering, and the dude bows, saying that he'll do it. Dojin puts his hand on his shoulder, saying one more thing, asking if Io told them to kill him, who is his stepmother, because the guy starts thinking about her, and Dojin asks why he's not answering as he squeezes his collarbone. The guy begins screaming in pain, and he immediately folds, saying that it was her. She said that she wanted him drowning in debt to the point that he'd take his own life. He begins begging him to let him go. Dojin asks if that's why he was thrown into the gate. Bossman says he has no idea about any of that, and he's telling the truth. If he died, he wouldn't get his money, so why would he throw him into an A gate? And he swears it's true. Dojin thinks about it, and then says Chul Wu's name, saying that he's the guy who dragged him into the gate, and they should bring out everything they have on him by tomorrow. Bossman agrees, and as Dojin leaves, Sanji bows to him. As he's heading back, he recalls the original Dojin wanting his family to be safe, and says that he sure is a pitiful boy, and he'll do everything he can to fulfill his wish. We see they've forged a B rank hero card for him. As he swipes it against the security system, it confirms that it has been verified, but warns him that he is below the recommended rank. It could be dangerous, so he should please think about it thoroughly before entering. Dojin says that they should have made him at least an A rank. It continues warning him that he is below the recommended rank, but he enters anyways. He is inside of the Bam Island gate. It is rank B, and it recommends a minimum of 2 party members. I wonder why it's saying below minimum rank if he is the same rank. But anyways, he says though it's ranked B, the D scale size makes solo play difficult, and since it's a tunnel type, only small group play is possible, making it hard to clear unless you're around an A rank. If you're really unlucky, you'll have to face hundreds of monsters alone in a dark narrow tunnel. A serpent appears before him as Dojin readies his hand. He says that he likes it, as we see he has some kind of new gloves. The serpents begin attacking at him, and in an instant, he dashes through, ripping its mana crystal out of its chest. As another one starts to release venom from its fangs, Dojin says that it's a black fang viper. It's a venomous snake whose touch alone will cause paralysis. He quickly lands on the ground below it, and then starts pivoting on his foot, generating force as he dashes back around, cutting it pretty much everywhere. As it starts to fall into pieces, he looks down at his gloves, saying that's pretty crazy. While the gloves are a little damaged now, they're definitely worth the money he paid. He then looks over, seeing even more serpents. He quickly starts making light work of them, as he's ripping them apart, literally, sending their venom flying throughout the entire area. Finally, he finishes clearing them up, and starts digging through their corpses, asking if there are really no magic stones. He says if it's like the previous world he was in, the drop rate for magic stones from these vipers is about 3%, and he'll have to kill at least a few hundred. He makes his way to some skeletons, and as there's a black miasma floating around them, he looks up, saying it must be time for the boss, as we see a giant black fang viper this time. He says that he didn't know where the path was, but this works out, and he wants to end this quickly and get out of this dungeon. As he rears back his fist, we hear a loud sound, and we see his hand shaking, as he feels a sharp pain on his wrist. All he did was dent the monster's skull, and he can't believe his attacks aren't strong enough. It then starts to come in from the side with its tail, swiping, hitting him into a nearby wall. Immediately, it follows up, going for a bite, which he narrowly dodges by backstepping. He immediately charges back in with his fist reared back, and once more, punching it on its side. Surprised that he still didn't make any damage, he says that he low-key expected this. It's on a whole other level than the snakes he fought outside, and its outer layer is too tough, so punches aren't going to work. If only he had regained his strength, trash like this would be nothing. He spots something down to his left, which is a sword, and he sighs, saying that he'll have to make do. He pulls it out of the ground, saying that no matter how old a blade is, it all depends on who wields it. He then walks forward, and tells the previous owner that he's going to be borrowing his weapon. As the boss flies in towards him, he dashes off the ground, soaring in the air above it. He says that this boss should consider it an honor to be killed by him. As he tightens the grip on his blade, the monster turns towards the air. He does as well, as he starts to unleash an attack, which is a bright yellow attack in the shape of a blade. Sadly, the sword gets shattered into pieces, and as the debris flies by his face, he says that could have been really bad if he had missed his attack. He walks over towards its corpse, and rips something out, and we see that it's none other than one of the fangs. He says it's too short to be a long sword, but with a little refining, it'll be usable, but still, this job will pay better than anything else, so that's a relief. He heads out of the dungeon, saying that he can't believe he wasted so much time on this gate, and regaining his power takes priority above all else, and he's glad his old comrades are not around to see this state he's in.